Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Chopping It Up with Romo. No notes, straight from the throat. Hey, listen, I've been under the weather for the last couple of days. I apologize for not being consistent enough. But, just got caught with something. I'm still struggling with it. Hopefully, I'll get better soon or quickly. And I can come at you every day as I like to. A lot's going on in the world of sports. During this time of the year, it's March Madness. You have spring training baseball. You have stretch runs in the NBA for playoffs. You have conference finals and basketball conference tournaments that leads into ultimately the NCAA. But yesterday was a day that was stolen by the NFL as free agency has began, where teams can talk to players, but signings don't officially can happen until about 1 o'clock today. But the NFL has stole the day. It really has stole the day. A couple of teams I want to talk about in the NBA before I move to the NFL. First of all, what a game last night for the Boston Celtics as they secure a win on the road in Golden State. They went on a 15-0 run to close the door on the Golden State Warriors. And guys, believe it or not, they held this team under 90 points at home. Unbelievable. As the Golden State Warriors only scored 86 points. Boston Celtics obviously was led by their MVP candidate in Isaiah Thomas as he finished with 25. But they got a big lift off the bench by Kelly Olynyk. He was 17-5-5. Just an outstanding performance. And you can't say enough about the job that Brad Stevens has done with the Boston Celtics. But good win for Boston on the road. Listen, guys, Kevin Durant, I didn't think he was an MVP candidate simply because the team is loaded. And I figured it's a playoff team without one of the big three or one of the big four. But in the 4.5 games that he's been out, you consider half a game in Washington, they lost that game. But in the other 4 games, they're 2-2. I mean, his presence is surely missed at this time right now. So, but I think this team will get it together. I do think Matt Barnes is a good signing. Obviously, he's no replacement of Kevin Durant, but I figure they'll get it going. The other team I want to talk about is the Miami Heat. These guys are currently 31-34. That's correct. 3 games only under 500. They tied with Milwaukee for the 9th spot. They're only a half game behind Chicago and Detroit for the 8th spot or the 7th spot, whichever one, because Chicago and Detroit are tied for 7th and 8th. Listen, guys, this is a phenomenal job. They were led last night by Dragic, who had 25 and 10. This is a phenomenal job by Eric Spoelstra. You know, who figured? I thought they would be in tank mode once they failed to re-sign D-Wade. I mean, I have to put my hands up. I had no idea that we'll be talking about Miami this late in the season with a possibility of going to the playoffs. Phenomenal coaching job by Eric Spoelstra. Again, unless you're a Miami fan, you don't know these guys. The only people I know on this team is Dragic, Hassan Whiteside, and I know Tyler Johnson because the Nets gave him an offer sheet last summer that I thought was ridiculous, but Miami matched it. And I know Justin Winslow, who I believe hasn't played all season or hasn't played in some time. This is a tremendous job. A tremendous job what Eric Spoelstra is doing. Excuse me. Clearly, Mike D'Antoni is coach of the year. But I have Spoelstra right there in the number 2 spot. I really do. I think what he's doing is sensational. I think that Scott Brooks and Brad Stevens can fight it out for number 3. But what a job that they're doing. And you know what? I like to see them get in the playoffs. You know, I root for the underdog. This is good exposure for them, good experience for that young nucleus. Maybe there's something like this they can build from. They'll probably be able to attract a few free agents. Very, very impressive what Miami is doing. And like I said, they're only a half game behind Chicago and Detroit. And neither one of them look like they want to run away with it. So I think Miami's going to be in it all the way down the stretch here. I would be very surprised if they don't make the playoffs. The culture in Miami is strong. The momentum is good. The chemistry is great. There's no reason for them to fall short. I like for them to go ahead and get into that first round. And what theater would it be if they meet Cleveland Cavaliers? For some reason, they have Cleveland's number, with or without LeBron playing. They just won back-to-back games on the home and home just the other day. So kudos for them. Good job by Eric Spoelstra. I got to give credit where credit is due. Okay, the last game I want to talk about really is the New York Knicks. It's just horrible what we see. It really is. I mean, ultimately, games are won and lost by the players due to executing or lack of. But in this game last night, this game was lost by Jeff Hornacek. Yes, Jeff Hornacek. When you have a 12-point lead and you bring in a backup point guard, who's really not a true backup point guard, and I think you see yourself in him. If he's not getting it done, you got to remove him. You can't wait till the lead evaporates, the other team gets momentum, and your guys are slumping. That was on you. Listen, the Knicks making the playoffs, they're only alive because of mathematics. They really don't have a logistic shot to make the playoffs at this time of the season. Why not play the kid Chasing Randall? He's a better point guard than Ron Baker. He is a point guard by trade. He knows the triangle system. Play the guy. Play the guy. He secured the win the other day in Orlando for you. Play the guy. Ron Baker is a nice guy to have on the team, but he's not a rotational guy. Play Randall. Milwaukee in the same boat as Miami. They're looking to get in, capitalize. Big win for them. Greek Freak, he was just too much for the Knicks. It's just no answer for him. I will say this, in 3 years from now, we'll be talking about him as one of the top three, easily the top 5 player in the game. This guy has all the tools and attributes to being a great one in this league. And I mean, literally, a great one. Okay? Move around along. Just want to make one comment. How about that Utah Jazz with the win over Houston in Houston? Outstanding by those guys. You know, that's a team that somewhat ran like the Boston Celtics, but the only difference with them is that they do have some quality veterans over there that don't have to play, that can make a difference, like Joe Johnson, Boris Diaw. Then you have George Hill over there, who I'm not a big fan of, but is working out over there. And they do have the star Gordon Hayward, who they're going to have to come up with some money to keep him there. But good win for Utah on the road. I mean, I believe they got 41 wins. They'll probably finish the season with 50-plus wins. But wouldn't that be something? That is outstanding. Outstanding coaching over there by Quinn Snyder. They got a good group there. Just an outstanding job. Outstanding job. In the college rank, really nothing to report. No upsets. Too bad my Syracuse team, which I think is a bubble team for the tournament, they were beaten in the first round in the ACC tournament. That's not a good look for them. They needed at least one win to assure a trip to the NCAA finals. Maybe they get in by name, but it's just a tough loss. That was one they needed as they lose to Miami. But no upsets to report over in that bracket. St. John's happened to get their first tournament win in 6 years as they nip a really lousy Georgetown team. It's not the same to see a Big East and Georgetown and St. John's are both lousy. That is interesting. I can't really remember a time to see two storied franchises or storied colleges, I should say, that's going through this type of drought. It's unbelievable that those teams are struggling. I don't know if it's recruiting issues or just coaching, whatever the case might be, but they're not who they once were. I can tell you that. All right. But again, nothing really to report. So you still got the conference tournaments going on. We'll have a little bit more closure towards the weekend. But I will move to the NFL. As I said, right now we're in the midst of an NBA stretch run, spring training in baseball, college conference tournaments for basketball, and then the NFL steals the day yesterday. San Francisco with $100 million to spend, they got started right away. Picked up 2 wide receivers in Pierre Garçon and the speedster out of Buffalo, Marquise Goodwin. They also picked up a fullback. I can't think of his name. I think he was with the Ravens last year. They also signed Brian Hoyer, backup quarterback, to a 2-year deal. They just got on a spending frenzy. All right. There's still rumors out there that they might be looking to acquire Kirk Cousins in a trade from Washington. Looks like Shanahan is trying to reunite himself with some former players. So keep an eye on that. The Giants made a splash, signing Brandon Marshall from across the hall to a 2-year deal. What a receiving group that's going to be. Brandon Marshall, Shepard, and Odell Beckham. Listen, if they can get themselves a tight end out the draft, maybe the kid O.J. Howard out of Alabama, watch out for them. Right now, I think on paper, the Giants got the best set of hands out there. I really think so. They may have the best set of wide receivers out there. Although Brandon Marshall leads the league in drops, or always in the top 3. But I still think he's a big-time receiver. He's a possession receiver. He's a great compliment to Odell Beckham. He could be a mentor to Odell Beckham. Great move by the Giants. Couldn't ask for anything better. Great move. Look, I think this continues to keep them in the playoff and maybe even into a deep run in the playoff. All they got to do is tweak a little this and that, maybe find a left tackle, not a left tackle, but maybe some insurance on that offensive line and possibly a good linebacker. They're going to be fine. I think the Giants is going to be fine. They're going to be fine. Buffalo Bills, they retain the services of Tyrod Taylor, and I think that's a good move. I mean, you cannot judge a quarterback under the guidance of Rex Ryan. He does nothing for a quarterback. This guy is clearly a defensive mind. I like his idea of running the ball, but when you have a stud, you need to let the stud play. You know, this is not a case of Mark Sanchez, who was questionable, and you needed to run the ball and ground and pound. But in the case with Tyrod Taylor, I think he had some talent. So hopefully the next head coach there will utilize his talent and come up with some schemes or plays that will benefit him. But that was a good move to retain his services. But with all the signings that was going on, because there was others, there was no bigger news than the one that came out of Dallas, which we all expected, but we were still wondering if it would happen. As Dallas announced yesterday that today, Thursday, they will be releasing Tony Romo. How sweet that is for Dak Prescott. It really is. And it could be bittersweet for some diehard Cowboy fans because Tony Romo gave you a reason to tune in every week. You know, maybe he didn't lead you to the promised land, but he was a very serviceable quarterback. You can make the case he's a top 10 quarterback in this league. When he is on, he is on. The problem with Tony Romo, and I'll say it again, he always has one bonehead play in him. The question is when does it occur? And how much damage can it cause? But nevertheless, you cannot doubt his skill sets. The guy is as talented as anyone. And this is a surprise for me. I thought maybe they restructured his contract to somehow keep him on and be a backup quarterback. When I heard that they were interested in Deshaun Jackson at wide receiver, I said, who does that benefit more? Does it benefit Dak or does it benefit Romo? Because one thing about Dak, as crispy as he was, he didn't go downfield a lot. And Deshaun Jackson, if it ain't over 20 yards, there's no reason to throw to him. He's not a 5-yard, 10-yard receiver. He's a 20-yard, 30-yard receiver. And I figured, well, they will trust Romo with that pass opposed to Dak Prescott. But they made it clear yesterday that they will release Tony Romo today. Very interesting. The day has come where the Cowboys and Romo parts ways. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But I know he'll always be welcome at Jerry's World. He's like a family member. I wouldn't be surprised if somehow or another he works something out to come back. But possible destinations for him could be Washington, could be Denver, could be Houston. I saw a report yesterday ruled the Jets out. So I don't think he goes to a situation where he can't win or he's looking to rebuild. I think he's going to go to a team that has a chance. Washington possibly going to lose both of their receivers, so that may not be a good situation. Denver is definitely a team in place. Houston's a team in place. I would like to see him go to Houston because of the indoor weather. Maybe that might help him because he's fragile. But I think Denver gives him the best chance. So keep an eye on that. But Tony Romo will be a free agent in a couple of hours. Unbelievable. As Dallas steals headlines yesterday with that news. Just unbelievable. Hey, that's going to do it for me today. A little short trip today. Got to get to work pretty early today. Got some things to do there. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope to see you back here in 24. Peace and blessings. Enjoy your day. This is Ramel. We're chopping it up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat. Y'all have a blessed day.